Ever need an escape from reality?
How about a laugh every now and again? It's time for Tales of Woe! It's an hour of comedy and conversation about nothing in particular.
Your weekly broadcast of weekly nonsense.
Get ready for a program that's sure to leave you saying, Whoa!
Good evening, all you beautiful people out there. Welcome to the show. My name is Ian.
And I'm Estevan.
And you are watching the very first episode where we're in the same room of Tales of Whoa! Are you good? Are you okay? Hey.
Breath.
Wow, look at us. Hey, good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you. Good to finally meet you in person.
Good
to
stuff.
finally meet
We
you.
don't have a little bit of a lag in the Discord chat this
Exactly.
time. You know, it can be a lot more reactive,
Yep.
quick. There's all the benefits in the world to sitting
Exactly.
next to each other.
Hopefully
on
we
the
can do
same
more
couch.
of these in the
Oh
future.
yeah. Oh, we will.
That's the goal.
You'll be seeing more of this.
Absolutely.
100%. But yeah, we're here. We're ready to go. How are you feeling today? I know
I'm
you got a lot
feeling
on your
good.
mind about something
I'm
specific.
very fired up. I'm very fired up.
Why don't you tell the beautiful people what you're all fired up about right now? You know, I'll let you take it away.
Let's start with the Acolyte. Let's recap
The Acolyte.
the last two episodes.
That's the show. The Acolyte, the new Star Wars show that everybody's crazy about. Everybody thinks it's the greatest in the world.
It's the best.
It just wrapped up.
It's the best.
The season.
Everyone's chiming in.
Everybody loves it.
Oh yeah. By the way, we got Joseph here on
the
the
back,
secondary
yeah.
camera in the
We
back.
finally got an.
He's all
we got
mic'd
another
up.
Third.
You know?
Flip.
Yep.
Yeah, give him a little.
He's
flip
our
there.
Jamie.
There he is.
There he
Getting,
is.
Get some extra coverage for us. you know?
Exactly.
Informative.
We said, hey, let's strap a mic on the guy. Maybe he has some things, some input to the
I have
conversation.
opinions,
Yeah,
I'm human. I matter.
exactly.
Exactly.
Damn right.
Exactly.
Tells me so.
We're all
Damn
about
right.
camaraderie here.
We're all about camaraderie, inclusion. We
Exactly.
don't want anyone to feel left out
No.
in the show,
Yeah.
except for Nick in the kitchen right now.
Exactly.
He doesn't. But anyway, the Acolyte.
Yeah, let's recap. That last episode we left off, we went
Another
to
flashback.
a flashback. We finally got to see that flashback.
truth.
What happened from the
whole
Jedi
truth.
perspective,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And man, was that crazy. Let me just
Lots
say,
of secrets revealed.
me just
Lots of
say,
secrets were revealed.
the fight choreography for this show is definitely some of the best I've seen.
It's top notch. No doubt about that. It is top notch. And even if you hate the show, you can't even deny that. Like,
Even if you try, and
Yeah.
I've seen people try.
don't lie to
Like,
yourselves.
it's
It's
good.
fire. That one episode, we already talked about this episode on another.
Yeah.
But you know the one. The whole fucking episode is one long battle. Like, that is some of the best shit
Yes.
I've seen in all of Star Wars.
And it explains a lot of things that are set up in the first episodes. Like Torben. Literally, like, the first time we
God
see
rest
him.
his soul.
Yeah. The first time we see him, he's floating by himself, a strong willed mind, and then, like, unbreakable, untouchable.
Yeah.
And then when we see the flashback, you see why. It's because of, you know, the leader of the Witch Coven, Mother. She infiltrated, and it's really good callback. And then you see the exile. You see why Kelnaka was what's the name of that planet? I forget. But
Cord?
Yes.
Cord something?
yes.
Some kind of forest
Yes.
world. Yeah.
But
Yeah, what was that world
He-
called? I can't.
you-
Co-
you wa-
no, not Kobo. That's from
yeah.
the game. I don't know. You know.
Yeah,
some kind
it's
of
another
nonsense
forest planet. It's
Star
another
Wars
forest
word.
planet. Yeah, and it's cool because it's like, well, why is he out there by himself? And then I realize, oh, it's because for those that don't know, the Wookiees pride themselves on not using their claws for violence. They use it
No.
They pride themselves on making sure that they use it to create.
To build each other up.
Exactly.
Never to strike
And if you use
another
your
down.
claws, you are branded a Mad Claw and officially sent into exile.
I didn't even know this either.
Yeah.
Until he
And
brought it up to me.
this-
That's how Torben gets the scar.
Yeah.
Crazy
if you remember,
shit.
briefly in KOTOR when you go to Kashyyyk and you have to go to the Shadowland, like the deep Shadowlands, remember? You have to find essentially you have to find Zalbar's dad. The Wookiee that joins you in your crew, you're tasked by his brother who's the chief in the pocket of the corporation, and essentially you have to find his dad. Well, his dad was branded a Mad Claw because he used his claws to strike an officer.
He fucked up.
And you know
He
what?
fucked up.
Yeah.
What's the number one Wookiee rule?
It's a cardinal sin. It's a
Never,
cardinal sin.
under any circumstances, use your claw. I didn't even know Wookiees had claws.
All
All that damn fur covering it up. I would have assumed they had like little paws.
Yeah.
Like a bear.
And then
or a monkey.
I thought that too initially, and then I'm like, well, actually, if you think about it, no, because remember Han Solo literally says like, the Wookiee will rip your arms off, and
True.
It's kind of hard to grab if you have just paws and not claws.
He has fingers.
Yeah.
You know, he could grasp
They're like
on with his fingers.
they're strong,
They're
furious
strong.
creatures, strong warriors.
They have to keep their anger and their temper, level. They have to keep it level-headed.
Absolutely.
Or else they're banished.
To a degree, right? To a degree.
I guess, yeah. They say don't use your claw. However, you got full
can rip a
clearance to
person's
rip
arm.
their
Yeah,
arms
exactly.
off. Yeah.
But going back to the episode,
Yeah.
we saw a little more explanation on how the girls got made, insinuating it, and it's interesting. It's
Yes.
is this like the first time in live action we've seen a vergence in the Force, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was really interesting, and it definitely set up a lot of good stuff in the finale.
Yeah, we learn in the finale, spoilers, that they aren't even twins. They aren't even sisters. They are the same person.
Yeah,
And
they're. Are they the same person? I thought she said
That's
that.
what Soul said.
I thought he said that used to create both of you, that you're just two different beings that were created by the virgins.
I thought Soul had said they were like one and the same person. Or some shit.
Yeah, so they're the same. Okay, they're the
Something
same
like
person
that.
split into two.
Point
a lot of people,
is, they were conceived out of the Force.
Yeah.
By some fucking witches.
And then
You
Kamir knows this now because he was there when Soul explained it,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody saw the really awesome cameo of little tease of the wisest
Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a little
canonically, or I guess not because we haven't seen him in canon. We've seen him in Legends, but he is considered the wisest Sith that ever lived, and arguably the oldest living Sith. And I think it was insinuated he could live like forever, but obviously Palpatine killed him.
Yeah.
And that we finally see how he started thinking about how to create life with the Force, which he didn't do on purpose. He couldn't figure it out. That's just known in his book.
I think it's kind of cool that, people are complaining about Osha and May being conceived out of the Force, saying like, oh, this makes, Anakin's legacy less special because if he's not the only one that was conceived out of the Force. And I don't think that's true at all. I think it's kind of interesting for there to be these girls that were before Anakin. Plagueis is aware of it, and he's like, okay, so this is a thing I can do. I can
On top
make
of that,
a being
it's very
out of the
clear
Force.
that they're not that powerful with the Force.
No, yeah.
Like, only till the end do you see Osha, which I thought that was such a great development of her character. And I thought it was it wasn't too shocking, but it definitely was alluding to that. You saw, like, the robe change, her bursts in anger, the fact that she failed to get into the Jedi Academy, not being able to deal with her trauma. And then I thought that was just actually brilliant. And a lot of people are like, well, you have to touch the kyber crystal to bleed it. It's like, if you notice, the saber's exposed.
Yeah.
Right? The saber is exposed a little bit. And so, of course, like, if you finally learn the truth that the person that has cared for you the most is actually responsible for all the trauma that you've faced in your life.
Yeah.
It's very valid for her to be able to purge all that hate, sorrow, anger into that kyber crystal. Because people are saying, like, oh, but in the comics, Anakin, Darth Vader struggled to purge his lightsaber, his crystal, and so did Kylo. And it's like, the thing about it is like, that's because there was still some conflict in them.
Yeah.
Like, Kylo, and you saw it, they turned back good. Darth Vader turned back good. There was still conflict in him. with Osha, it's
Is
like
she fucked? Is she
it,
done?
it
is she
feels like
donezo?
it feels like she, because remember right before they left Brendok, it's like not Brendok, they left the unnamed planet.
Yes.
She's like, I'll never train to be a Sith, and then afterwards she's like, no, that's it.
Yeah.
She gave in to her emotions, and
sure did.
It definitely showed like it was cool because you saw like another full transformation, like not just anger and hate, but just sorrow. Just pure
grief.
sadness and pure grief.
Man.
You saw that with Anakin. You
And
see
betrayal.
it with her. Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like that. Yeah, I mean, all in one moment, all those negative feelings came on to her whenever she realized that Soul is the one who killed her fucking mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the crystal bled. You know, when all that gets
Exactly.
dumped on you in one moment, like, I think that might be valid enough to make your crystal bleed.
I agree.
Because it also seems like everything she had been feeling was building up for a while, and she was suppressing that shit.
Especially with the fact that she's on this adventure that's making her relive all of this.
Yeah, she
it's
was
building all of that pain back up.
She was bottling it up, bottling it away, rather than, Anakin. He was letting it all out. You know, he was emo from the fucking start.
Exactly, he let it all out, and eventually it did fester. A lot of it did fester, and eventually he did change, and that's because of just all of his fears. His was just pure fear. Pure fear. Not that he couldn't save Padme, that he was afraid of her dying. Fear that he was not strong enough to save her, and that would be another person that he couldn't save, like his mom.
Yeah,
because remember, he was
angry too.
A lot of people think, it was his fear of not being able to save Padme, but it wasn't that. It was that he made such a strong promise, and he was so bent on fulfilling that promise to his mom that he would never let something like this happen to him again, that it drove him to the dark side.
Yep.
And he eventually let it go, obviously, and he redeemed himself. But
With Osha, it was just a little different because you could see throughout the show that she has these conflicting feelings within her, but she chooses to shut it off and say, no, that's gonna go over here for a little while. And that just fucking unleashes. And I mean, I can't blame her for making her crystal bleed. And it looked cool too.
We finally saw a bleeding kyber crystal in live action. I thought that was such a cool way to do it.
It was cool when you saw the crystal itself changing, but then she ignited the lightsaber and it literally went from like blue to red, it like crackled, and
it crackled.
Sick.
You started to see it hiss a lot more. I'm like, because the thing with kyber crystals is that in the way that it's explained, they're essentially like a semi-sentient being, and that when they're bleeding is when you
force directly,
exactly. So when they turn red, it's essentially because you've corrupted them so much, and with all of your pain and all of your negative emotions, that it turns red.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so cool to see that in live action. I thought the choreography fight with Kamir and Soul was so cool. A lot of people were complaining like, oh, how is it that Osha never used the Force before can Force choke Soul? It's like, that's just not he's a Jedi Master and she like is just using the Force. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, no, you don't get it. It's like he gave up. Yeah. He let her do it.
Yeah.
Like
he knew.
He literally says like, it's okay. Like, he lets it happen. He knows. It's not that
he knows he fucked up.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's man. Soul, such a goated character.
Yeah. He was
God,
great.
He's great, man. And I mean, I was really hoping he'd make it through to the end, but I mean, we knew from the get-go that all these people were probably going to die.
I had mentioned that theory that they were going to pin it on him, and it turned out right. And then, I mean, when Kamir revealed his scars and Vernestra showing her whip saber, obviously, we knew who she was.
Yeah, she's sus, man.
And look, like, this isn't the first time that like Jedi have covered up something. Like, literally, Sifo Dyas and Darth Tyrannus. Yeah. Literally, Dooku covered up the whole initiation of the Clone Wars. And remember the Clone Wars episode where Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting him on that ledge, and he tells him, he's like, "Listen, I gave you all the information about who's controlling all of this back on Geonosis years ago." And then they present that to the council, and they're like, oh no, he's not a Sith. They even covered up the fact that that they don't believe Dooku was a Sith. Remember, they don't consider him a Sith.
Yeah, yeah. At the beginning, they're like, this guy used to be a Jedi. There's no way he could ever be a Sith.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
like, you guys are lying to yourselves, man. It's
Exactly.
the hubris of the Jedi. And again, I really do think that's the reason they did the Ki-Adi-Mundi shit. Because to show that when he says that in the Phantom Menace, he's not being genuine. It's the hubris, man. It's like, yeah, there's been dark side guys, but he's gonna say, no, there haven't been any in a millennia because the Jedi want to cover that shit up. They're gonna act like it never happened.
Of course, they want to cover it up because they have this image that they're all powerful, all knowing, and you cannot let that affect because then you let the people doubt you, and they can't let that happen because the whole point of the whole reason the Jedi exist is because they constantly are finding young Force children, and taking them in, indoctrinating them. And another complaint that I saw is like, oh, Vernestra just paraphrases and like a lot of them talk the same as they talked in the prequels. It's like, here's the thing, and then I had to think about it. It's like a lot of these people, they were brought in as children, babies.
Yeah.
So when you're brought in as babies, you grow up, and when you're taught by the same people that teach the same principles, that teach a singular way of life, you start to talk and sound like them. Everybody talks. In a way, it's the Jedi in a big way are like a religious cult.
They are.
They're
Absolutely.
very religious cult
Oh, yeah,
tendencies.
absolutely.
Like the taking of children and the indoctrination, like the religious aspects of like, this is the Force and all that.
And just them, I think, knowing that they have issues but refusing to acknowledge
Absolutely.
it. Because you can
like
tell
Soul
that,
and Qui-Gon.
I mean, the whole thing of Vernestra using Soul to cover it up, saying this was a guy, he was a great guy, he fucked up all these years ago by killing this witch, he had guilt over it,
and killed everyone.
He went dark, he killed people, and then he killed himself. And it's like, oh wow,
It's
yeah,
like,
they just
of
fucking
course-
covered the whole,
Of course that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then also, like, Ki-Adi-Mundi probably doesn't know.
That too.
Like
once,
he's there, but at that point in time, they don't know it's a Sith. They don't know who it is. They think it could be anybody. Remember, these are the same guys that sat 7 feet away from Palpatine and were like, "This guy's just the Chancellor."
They
like,
had they
he's
wasn't
not
even
a
on their
Sith.
radar. And
Yeah.
once she used Soul to cover it up, Ki-Adi and all those other Jedi are probably going to be like, oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the truth. Yep,
And
none of that other shit. There was no Sith.
It's not the first time that we've had. I wrote a list. It's not the first time that we've had Jedi turn evil. We've had Ponkrell, Barisofi, Tyrannus, literally like Revan, Nadar Veb. Remember, he showed Sith tendencies. He was Kit Fisto's apprentice in the Grievous's lair. Remember, he was prideful.
Yeah,
he was bashful.
He
was
a Rodian,
arrogant.
right?
Yeah,
he fucking died.
He was arrogant.
He got killed. He
Yeah.
fucked around and found out.
Exactly. He was arrogant. He thought he was all that, like newly knighted Jedi Knight. Like I said, Barriss,
yeah.
Even
she had a good little turnaround.
Even
in Tales of the
Ahsoka
Empire.
leaves because of the hubris of the Jedi. Like she grew up knowing the Jedi, and after everything they did to her, she's like, this isn't the same Jedi that I thought I believed in.
That shit's so awesome, man. Whenever they're blaming it on her, they're like, it's a done deal. It was you. You're done. You're banished. They find out it's Barriss, and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. Please come back in open arms. We're gonna
Exactly.
I'd
And
be
she's like, no.
No.
Even then, when she comes back, she doesn't rejoin the order.
No, she's like, no, I can't. You guys got issues.
Yes.
But hey, and also, Yoda.
We did get Yoda.
Got
A lot of
and
people were
he's a
complaining
puppet.
about Yoda
Why?
because they're like,
Why?
because they're like, oh, he's in on the lie now. It's like, no, it's not the case, man. Like, this isn't.
I hate it, man.
It's
The complaints.
Yeah. Like Vernestra was, I had pegged her for a villain for a while just because she always seemed shady, and that's cool. I thought her ability to like be in her attunement to the Force that allowed her to have the power of like being able to visualize or hear past events by being present in those locations.
Like
I thought
Cal.
was, yeah. Like Cal's special power, and Kylo as well, is freezing, being able to freeze people in time.
Sense echo, isn't that what
Exactly.
it's called? Cal touches something. and
Exactly.
he can feel. Yeah.
I
Isn't
thought
there someone else
it
who
was
can do
interesting.
that? Someone else in like a new project that was revealed to have that ability as well. Is it Ahsoka?
I don't think
Didn't
so.
Ahsoka do it in the show?
Was it Ezra?
Maybe Ezra.
It could have been Ezra.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
know there's
don't- I
only a
don't-
few that we've seen
Yeah.
that have that ability though.
But the two that come to mind is definitely those two.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like Vernestra even more so than Cal because she just has to be present in an area and she can sense it. Whereas Cal obviously has to touch like a force.
Yeah. He can like hear everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have a statement for all the haters here that I prepared. I wrote my thoughts
the
down.
floor is yours.
I spent like an hour after watching the finale and just cycling through all the shitty ass dumb arguments. Like it's just
Take it away.
absolutely
take it
awful
away.
opinions. So I like to start with this. I'm convinced now that people didn't actually watch the prequels and the few that are like nerdy enough that wanted to read the books. Like I'm convinced that people didn't actually watch
Like
what
when they
I
came
saw.
out?
Like they didn't see the same thing I saw.
Oh.
Because I'm convinced people like the prequels only because the cool lightsaber battles, the war,
Yeah.
and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Completely missed the point of what the prequels were about.
True.
Every single complaint about the Acolyte of the Jedi wouldn't do this, the Jedi wouldn't do that. George Lucas himself set all of that up in the prequels. This is all George Lucas is making. And it's Greek tragedy. It's classic Greek tragedy. Like, just read a history book, like George fucking Lucas did. The fall of a chosen one, doomed to fail. That's Anakin.
Yeah, man.
The
Lucifer.
yeah, it's the same thing. The Jedi were so prideful they couldn't even see a Sith sitting 5 feet away from them, like
Yeah.
in their presence multiple times. And remember, the Jedi were sneaky as well. Remember, they said we want you to spy on Chancellor Palpatine. They're literally using Anakin to spy on Palpatine. Does that sound like something a Jedi would do, resorting to
True, yeah.
to that
If
kind of
was
trickery?
if that was something they had in the Acolyte, that people would be complaining about that.
So this whole thing about the Jedi wouldn't do this, the Jedi wouldn't do that, they absolutely would. They 100% would. There's so much proof in just the prequels alone. Even the Clone Wars, Dooku, Revan, Master Ponkrell, Nadar Veb, Barriss. Even Ahsoka leaves because of the hubris of the Jedi, and she sees there something that she doesn't even recognize anymore. Talk about cover-ups. How about the fact the whole Clone Wars? We talked about it, and it'll get a season 2. Cry about it because
You think so?
I think it'll get a season 2.
hope so.
This is the thing. Leslie Headland left in up. The one thing apparently that I've seen unanimous is like she set up enough and left enough questions open still that they're even like, well, now we got to get a season 2 to see Darth Plagueis, and we got to see what see her finish it up. And it's
True.
the second least watched Star Wars show. You know what the least watched Star Wars show is? Andor. Just got a season 2.
Yeah, man.
$250 million budget. That's more than what season 1 of The Acolyte was. That was more than what season 1 of Andor was.
Mm-hmm.
So, you saying it was the least watched show? None of you watched that. It's probably one of the best top 3 Star Wars period.
Andor?
Yeah, in my opinion. I think
I gotta watch it again. I liked it, but it was like, it's one of those shows where you gotta watch it, I think, more than once to really fully.
you know what I love about it? What I love about it is that it's made by writers that aren't just fans of Star Wars, they're fans of cinema.
Yeah.
And Tony Gilroy is a master screenwriter, he's a master producer, director.
Yeah, it's a good
And-
show.
All business.
That's the thing, man. Is that
Preach, Joseph. You know Tony Gilroy, dude.
Yeah.
Like him and Dan Gilroy. He's got his brother Dan Gilroy. He's directing 2 episodes of Andor season 2. Like,
Beautiful.
it's
Keep it in the family.
the guy. They're great.
Yeah, the
was-
thing about
It was a great twist. It's a great story that didn't have any Jedi. It didn't have a Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have a Vader. It just showed regular people involved in trying to spark a rebellion.
and guess what, that
Good atmosphere too.
yeah. That show had a lot of haters too. That's the thing. So a lot of people hate Andor. They think it's boring, and there's a lot of people that hate the Acolyte, and that's what I think the kind of beautiful thing is. There's something for everyone. You
Yes.
know, maybe you don't like the Acolyte, but maybe you were into Andor. Well, guess what? I like the Acolyte. I think the Acolyte's cool. There's a little bit of something for everyone,
Yeah.
and you're absolutely right.
This
Like,
whole thing about humanizing the Sith, like that's just not the case. Like Khmer, I don't feel like I don't feel sympathetic to the Sith all of a sudden. Like, oh, they're not the bad guys. Like, they clearly are the bad
definitely
guys
are.
because they give in to rage and they use that rage not for good but for evil. And Khmer, yeah, he had a shitty he had traumatic moments in his life that led him to turn evil. You can tell that just from the scars alone. But to sit, like, at the end of the day, you just made a choice,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and gave in.
I gotta
And
know
same
more.
with OSHA, the trauma and the pain.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you understand it, but that doesn't mean that she went it the right way. And if anything, this show, what it shows is that is what happens when you allow your pain and your trauma to fester and build inside of it until you lose control of it, which is a subtle message of everybody go to therapy. Make sure you're living your best life.
Go to therapy, for real. And that brings us to the sponsor of this video, BetterHelp. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding. No. BetterHelp. No. Don't sue us, BetterHelp, please.
We're up there with Stuck Men.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stuckman, dude, his movie,
Yeah,
Neon. Shelby Oaks with Neon.
I'm
Long
excited.
legs.
Long Legs.
I'm
We
excited.
just saw Long Legs, or I did.
I did
Me
not
and
see
Joseph
it. I
did.
did not see Long Legs. I've heard good things, and then I heard their opinions as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
We're fighting against the current.
Yeah,
right
man,
now.
we're just different than
fish.
most. You know, we go against the grain.
What are we,
You know,
salmon?
we have a lot more artistic, higher opinions than everybody else. We see it for what
Yeah.
it really
We've
is.
seen Nick Cage in better roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
No, I'm just
one
playing.
consistent I've seen about Long Legs is like
Yeah, we're better. We have
Nick
better
Cage is
opinions.
he's a bit like he can overdo it sometimes for a lot of people.
But I like
and that's one
that.
consistent I've seen with this movie is that for a lot of people they felt like he was too over the top.
There wasn't enough of him.
My problem.
There wasn't
Really?
enough of
Not in
him.
and enough.
No, yeah.
Interesting.
I was going into it thinking
It was going to be
'cause,
her
like,
versus him the whole time.
Exactly. I thought he was gonna be like a consistent part of the story, but he was more so
Like
this.
a Kevin Spacey. in
Yeah.
Seven, you know?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Excuse
That's-
me. I
that's
thought he was,
interesting.
but he was more so this kind of guy that was just shrouded in mystery, and it would cut to him sometimes, and he would like scream and dance, and then I don't
Those
know.
were unintentionally funny. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
that yeah.
They were trying to make it seem creepy. It was creepy, but I was just thinking of Nick Cage.
Yeah, I didn't really understand his appearance either. He looked like Jack Frost.
Yeah, Jack. Like
Really?
Madonna
Like
up
the
Jack
long
Frost.
like long hair.
Yeah, well, his
I've
skin
seen
was-
I've seen like
face, like he has Botox. He looks like Madonna.
And it was
Really?
white, like whiter than he normally is.
He's
Like it was
supposed
like
to-
actually white. His skin was white.
Like
He was
Lady
wearing,
Gaga.
yeah,
he's
his,
supposed to look
cover of Poker
otherworldly
Face.
in a way.
I guess,
Yeah.
but it never really
Like
explained
demonic.
why he looked like that. He had white hair. Even his outfit, everything about it was white. He looked
Yep.
like Jack Frost.
I mean, also
Like,
it doesn't
I'm at your
it doesn't
doorstep.
necessarily have to be explained.
yeah, I
essentially,
mean,
he's
creepy
he's
horror
just
villain.
He's
I
just a
think for
vessel.
us, there was
of
like,
evil.
Too much boringness in the movie. That's where our minds went.
It was
'Cause
boring.
wasn't
Too much
being
fluff.
occupied. Yeah,
There was not,
exactly.
yeah.
How long was the movie?
I don't even
I
know.
don't even know. I thought it was 90 minutes, but
It felt long.
maybe a little longer.
They said part 1, part 2, part 3. They did one of those.
Unnecessary.
Oh, like
Everyone's
they
Wes
did
Anderson.
chapters.
Yeah, a little chapter, and they're like, ooh,
Interesting.
we're artsy fartsy. Look at this.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just yeah, it
The
was.
credits roll up from the top.
Yeah, the credits they come from the top. The credits go the other way. When the credits start rolling, instead of coming up from the bottom, they come from the top, or whichever way is normal. Yeah, they fucking.
That's
What way is normal? They go up, right? Credits
Yeah.
move upward, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
They come from the bottom. Yeah, on this one, the credits they start coming down from the top, and we're like, ooh, they do it differently. They aren't like the rest. We're gonna make the credits come from the top because we're different.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it because I like Micah Monroe in It Follows.
She was
She will reprise her role in They Follows. Was she not good? Did you not like her?
no,
Really?
no.
So it's not that she wasn't bad. It's just like if you think about the movie in retrospect, it's so obvious, like her way she's acting and everything.
Her
you know,
character
it's
was
like-
just
So
strange.
I read the cast list on Wikipedia and essentially it showed like the descriptions of each character. So she's like Lee Harker, FBI agent, and then I saw like Ruth, her mom, her religious mom, and then I saw like a picture of the actress. I'm like, this actress looks like eerily, like almost too similar in age. I could be
Oh
wrong.
yeah, her mother
Yeah.
in the movie. Yeah, and yeah, I actually was thinking about they talk on
Because
the
she's
phone
48
a lot.
and Micah's 34, I believe.
Whoa.
Wow,
She was getting it done early.
I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah, yeah, I guess so.
After that.
Going back real quick.
Oh yeah,
This is my last.
we definitely took a little aside there about
Long
that.
legs. But hey,
Anyway,
to
we'll
back
go back to the
to the
Acolyte.
witches.
listen.
Yeah, we
this
gotta.
is
we
my
gotta finish
final
this up.
thoughts, and this has less to do about the Acolyte and more to do about the piece of shit Star Wars theory. Yeah, I said it. This is the first thing I wrote about
Go
this
off,
guy.
Queen.
Go off,
Fuck
sis.
Fuck that guy.
Look out in the camera.
I saw his reaction video on the Acolyte, and this is what pisses me off the most. He knows what he's saying is bullshit.
He's just
He
getting
knows what
views.
he's saying is bullshit. He's too smart for that. He's a big Star Wars nerd. Like his old essay videos were some of the best I've seen. We've talked about it. Mm-hmm. But like this guy,
Gotta give him credit where
is-
credit's due.
Yeah,
Right.
but this guy, ever since his shitty fan film, I'll explain about
Vader?
it. Ever since his issues, yeah, Vader. Ever since he had issues with Lucasfilm of his shitty fan film, he's just gone off the rails.
Wait,
just
issues with Lucasfilm?
So
Did
let
they-
me get into it. I did some research because it's like this guy has a huge platform. He's got 3.32 million subscribers on YouTube. So he's got a good
3.2.
3.32 million subscribers on YouTube. So he's got a big following, right? And I'm like, why is this guy like so hateful? And he proclaims to be a Star Wars fan. It's like it just doesn't make sense. So I did a deep dive on it because we know he never used to be like that. Like the old Star Wars theory would have loved to see a Kyber crystal purge, or to see Darth Plagueis, or to see classic puppet Yoda, and it just doesn't make sense, you know. So I figured it out. This is my theory. So
Is it a Star Wars
it
theory?
has to yeah, it's a Star Wars theory.
That's just
on
a
Star
theory.
Wars theory.
A Star Wars theory.
So
Thanks for
he
watching.
he co-wrote that Vader fan film, right? That was like his baby. He wanted to do that. Apparently, he asked Lucasfilm if he was for permission to crowdfund and make revenue off of it. Lucasfilm said no. They said you can't crowdfund
Rightfully so.
and you
I
can't
think.
make money off of it
It's a
because
fan film
it's a
for a
fan
reason.
film, and they, it's their IP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether it's right or wrong for them to say no, it's their right.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's right or wrong is besides the point. It's their right to say no. It's their product. They allowed it to be made. They gave them permission, but they said no crowdfunding, and you can't make money off of it. But Warner Bros. Music copyright claimed the film for Lucasfilm, citing the score, even though they had developed an original score that was an homage to the original trilogy's music.
So what? Did
It was
Warner Brothers? They just think it was too similar, and they thought he stole it.
The backlash from that, I don't know the full details. I just know that eventually Lucasfilm backed them off, and they returned it to its original state and took down the copyright claim. But then he blamed Disney for it, and he said, quote, "They don't respect the fandom," and I guarantee you that was when he started to hate Star Wars. I guarantee
You think
you.
so?
Because
That's
it's been it's
his villain era.
because-
That's where it all
exactly,
started.
like
He's
like
oh, Lucasfilm.
'Cause
Let
they-
me make money off
they
it.
didn't even blame. He didn't even blame Lucasfilm. He blamed Disney. He's just like, oh, it's the greedy corporation. But guess what? Like, on top of that, he started developing a huge following and getting into alt-right groups and befriending those sectors that are very anti-Star Wars. And I don't know if you remember this, but he brought on a psychologist, which was like the final straw of a pattern of hating women in Star Wars, they brought in this psychologist to kind of like try to prove a point that women don't like Star Wars, women don't watch Star Wars, which is just completely utter bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
everybody loves Star Wars. Like,
He's like, Star Wars is for
hey,
boys.
if any of you saw it, George Lucas himself, literally at Cannes Film Festival a couple months ago, literally said the main character for the original trilogy is Leia. and the main character for the original trilogy is Padme. And then he said afterwards, which apparently pissed nobody off, the Force is woman. Like it is. It's
He said
women.
that?
It's
The Force is a woman?
No, not the
Confirmed?
Force is the Star Wars is for women. Like it's just
It's for everyone.
it's for everyone. Like
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah, man. No, I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna sit here and harp on the guy too much, but I think he just kind of he gatekeeps for sure Star Wars, and I think he has this kind of mentality.
It's disingenuine. That's
It
what
is.
That's what kills me. It's that it's disingenuine because he knows that what he's saying and his explanations are bullshit,
Yeah.
and he's operating in bad faith.
Yeah.
But he chooses to continue it because grifters got to grift, man. Like there's no doubt that he's got a lot of more views and spotlight. This is the same motherfucker that apparently every year that Star Wars Celebration happens, he complains about Disney and Lucasfilm saying he didn't get saying why didn't he get an invite?
Yes,
It's like,
yeah.
motherfucker, you're just a YouTuber. You're not
That's the thing.
You're not entitled to an invite. You don't act like an entitled prick.
That's the thing about him, man.
That's
is
it.
I think he loves Star Wars, and I love that he loves Star Wars, but I feel like sometimes, and this goes with any fan base, is there are people who love their fandom so much that they convince themselves that they like it the most. They like it more than anyone else, and that it's theirs. And I feel like he kind of has that to where he thinks he can be in the position to say this isn't how it would go. This isn't how Star Wars would be because he thinks Star Wars is his. He thinks he's the number one top Star Wars fan.
He's literally recently said that I feel like it is my responsibility to uphold Star Wars the way George Lucas had brought about it, and it's like
That's
you
not
do
true.
realize
That's
that
not true, man.
Exactly, because you do realize 99% of Star Wars was barely made with his approval because he was involved heavily in the movies, the prequels and the originals, but we've got the books, we've got the games. He didn't sign off on everything. Apparently, like for example, Mara Jade, whom Wanda in Legends married Luke Skywalker. He said he hated her, and if he knew that she would marry Luke Skywalker, he would have said, "Do not do that whatsoever. You don't have my permission." And it's stuff like that. So, on top of that, he's the king of retconning. Like the guy,
Yeah.
that's a shtick. Like
Yeah.
he's done it before, and all the people hating on the Acolyte and Leslie Headland, you do realize that Dave Filoni approves all that, right? Like he's the head creative for Lucasfilm. He is the disciple. He's Star Wars Theory. He's the actual upholder
exactly.
of the values and the canon of Star Wars.
I feel like Star Wars Theory thinks he's in the same position as Dave Filoni or something, where it's his fucking responsibility to
Yeah.
make sure Star Wars
It's
goes
just-
a certain way. It's like I feel like it drives him crazy to know that there are other people in the world that might like Star Wars more than him.
Yeah,
He thinks it's
100%.
his.
He hates Pablo Hidalgo, who's considered like the head of the canon, approving a lot of stuff and making sure that stuff follows the canon. And he is probably like the third most important person at Lucasfilm in terms of establishing how Star Wars works. Are you going to say that he's a bigger Star Wars nerd than you? He's not. Like, yeah, so what? He made fun of you crying in in your reaction to Luke Skywalker showing up in Mando season 2 finale. Like, grow the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, man.
Grow-
If you
grow
actually
up, grow up. So what? You're an internet personality with a lot of viewers. You're gonna get some reaction from somebody. Like, just because he's making fun of you, he's like one of the most important people at Lucasfilm. So,
if you really think
why do you care?
you should be in this position to know where Star Wars should go, start writing. Start getting into the film industry. Start working your way up to get a fucking job at Lucasfilm instead of making YouTube videos complaining about how you think it should go. Because if you think you should be out there writing how Star Wars goes, then start writing stuff.
On top of that-
putting yourself out there. You know, like you're not gonna get anything done by sitting and go, no, actually, this is not how Star Wars would be.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly. You're just complaining. You're not offering like solutions,
yeah.
like good, valid solutions.
Yeah.
And even then, the things that he's complaining about, he knows that they fit within the grand scheme of everything.
That's the thing.
It's like, oh, Ki-Adi-Mundi, no. Okay, he shouldn't have. How would he know that the Sith exist and then say that they haven't existed for millennia? Okay, maybe think about it this way. The writer of he interviewed the writer of one of the Star Wars books. I believe it was either Plagueis's book or Revan's book, and he essentially tried to goad him into saying, "Yeah, the Last Jedi sucks, right? The Last Jedi sucks, right?" And the guy came back with him with the best response possible. It's not about, and we've talked about it. It's not
on
about
another episode.
It's not about Luke wouldn't do this, Luke wouldn't do that. It's about what event caused him to shift so differently from who he was and create and almost commit an egregious act in his eyes. It's like there's explanation to it. There's validity. It's not about like this wouldn't happen because the guy, like Star Wars theory, he has a big following and he's been active for a long time. If he really knew Star Wars and he actually like was not such a right-wing grifter asshole, like Lucasfilm would have fucking contacted him by now.
Yeah, no.
They would have talked to him by now. But because he's such a piss boy crybaby, that's like if you see it, if you see
Shots fired.
if you see his reaction, his comments, the comments on his reaction videos, if you see the comments, if you see the and his little grifter followers, because if you see the comment section on his reaction videos, they all do the same thing. They agree with everything he says, and then whenever he pivots, they are like, oh yeah, no, he's right. They pivot on everything he says. They're essentially just robots robot zombies, whatever, that just follow every word he says, and it's so disingenuous because of exactly that. He has a platform, and he could be like promoting like unity and synergy. And yes, there's issues with the show. The acting is not the best. Amanda Stenberg had like 4 different facial expressions. Let's be real. The dialogue is not the best. The little girls, not good actors.
In terms of all the Disney Plus Star Wars shows, The Acolyte falls like in the middle, I'd say.
I would say it's better than Boba Fett. Book of Boba
Yeah,
Fett. None of you were complaining about Book of Boba Fett. You were all just like, yeah, I mean, it happened. No, none of you complained. Tamura Morrison, honestly, just not the best actor.
No, he really.
But he's that character.
What?
Aquaman.
Aquaman. Papa Aquaman.
Papa Man. Like,
here, look. here's the last thing I'll say about Star Wars theory, because I don't want to sit here and hate on him too much, because you can, but I don't feel comfortable hating on people. I like to spread love. I don't hate anyone. I don't approve.
He's gonna come to our house and kill us, not yours.
Yeah. I don't agree with kind of the content he's been making, and I do think he has issues, but I don't want to sit here and hate on him too much. The only thing I'll say is, look, if you're out there, Star Wars theory, and you happen to hear this, which I know you definitely won't, I just wish, let's just love Star Wars again.
don't be an asshole.
And don't be an asshole. Let's just love Star Wars again.
And fuck
hey, maybe you don't like The Acolyte. That's okay, man.
He definitely doesn't like
Go
that.
watch something you do like, because every Star Wars fan likes different movies and different shows more than other shows and movies. Everyone, like what I was saying earlier, there's something in the Star Wars fan base for everyone.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, that's fine, man, but don't spread negativity about the fan base you're supposed to love.
Yeah. He makes the fan base look bad.
Yeah.
All these toxic, like, keyboard warrior fake Star Wars fans all they've done is make Star Wars, they've turned Star Wars fans into arguably the most toxic fan base.
Yeah, and I know it's
awful.
No one likes to see their favorite franchise, get like fucked or ruined. The amount of times that old movies get a new sequel or reboot made, and the diehard fans get their hearts broken because it doesn't live up to it. It's like, yeah, no one likes to see that happen. But guess what? Some people maybe are gonna like it, and who are you to not let them like it? Let them like it. Let people like things.
Because
it's not hard to just...
Because I could sit here and be like, oh, if he was operating in good faith and had actual valid complaints, I would be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I understand.
No, he
Like, there's like 4 or 5 plot points that I wish they would have explained better. Like, I wish I feel like point A to point B, it was conclusive. It tied up enough stuff. It left enough stuff open.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the sequence of events and the events that occurred, they were good. It wasn't great. I wasn't like, whoa, like awestruck at how good this show is, like I was with Andor. But it's a good show, and I feel like he's just being very disingenuous for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because his right-wing anti-Star Wars buddies won't let him like the show, like Star Wars anymore, so he has to appease to his little grifter piss boys.
I don't get
Maybe.
it.
Personal vendetta, man.
It does feel like he has a
I
personal
don't
vendetta
get
to it.
I don't get it.
His movie, you said he made a movie?
He made a fan film. Yes,
And
he's
he
making a
got
second one.
copyright strike?
He's making a second one. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
So he
and
has a personal vendetta.
and the thing about it too is, I mean, obviously his fan
And
film's
then-
not canon, obviously, but like I think he has this mindset that like what he wrote, what it is how it should be.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, sorry, dude. You can write whatever the fuck you want, how you think it should have been. It's not canon,
Yeah.
Maybe in your own head, this is what you think Vader
Yeah.
did during this, whatever. But it's
Yeah.
just spread positivity about Star Wars, please. Because again, I thought this was the fandom you were supposed to love with
Yeah.
all your heart. Because what you have effectively been doing the last few months is running a Star Wars hate channel.
Yeah.
That's what you've been doing, man.
You just been running a smear campaign on Leslie Headland.
Yeah.
She doesn't deserve this because she literally is interviewed saying she consulted Dave Filoni on every single creative decision
Yeah,
that she
man.
made. And the new planets, she's like, do that. Show new planets. They didn't want to do Kashyyyk again for Kelnaka. They wanted to show another planet.
Mm-hmm.
The witches. Literally, Dave Filoni's like, yes, do that. I want Star Wars to show more people that aren't Jedi or Sith in tune with different versions of the Force.
And
that
and-
was Dave Filoni's suggestion. Are you gonna say Dave Filoni's wrong?
And again, we've
No,
already
you're not.
We've
You're not
already
gonna say it because he's a guy and Leslie Headland is a gay woman, and that's why you're hating.
Yeah, it's
Go
the-
off,
the lesbian
Queen.
Dude.
Witches.
And you know what?
Homophobic.
You know what leads credence to my theory? He's like an alt-right piss boy. Is that when the whole accusations after bringing that psychologist about Star Wars, like women don't like Star Wars, and all of his anti women stuff. He's like, that's just the left. That's just the left, taking things out of proportion. That's literally exactly something some right-wing dumbass would say. Those are just the same right-wing. Everything he said is the same right-wing talking points that they pull out of the same stupid little 3-page playbook because that's all they've got. They got nothing else. It's like,
Steven Crowder playbook.
exactly.
You know what the right wing people have
Why
now,
did you have to
though?
remind me that piece of shit exists?
You know what the right wing fuckers have now, though? A badass picture of Donald Trump
God
with his
damn
fist
it.
in the air.
Segue.
Yeah, I'll segue to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, fuck Star Wars theory. Fuck Donald Trump, man.
Long story short, there's just be happy
I hate the
about
fact
Star
that
Wars.
picture looks actually good.
Yeah, I can't lie. If you follow me on Instagram, I already made a reel about it. But
Yeah.
look, Donald Trump sucks. He's not a good person, but that picture is hard as fuck.
I hate that man with
Defiant.
I hate
It's
that man with
defiant.
every fiber of my being. And
It's
that's me as a Hispanic.
badass. Yeah, I mean,
Especially
yeah.
as a Hispanic, because he labeled literally all Hispanics just rapists.
Yeah,
And
he's not a good
criminals.
guy. He's not a good guy, but goddamn, that
I
is
hate
a good
it. I
picture
hate
of
it,
him.
man. I hate the fact that it looks good. It looks cool. Like, it feels too perfect. The
It's
way
too
that it's
good.
framed
The
and everything.
flag
I'm not-
flying behind him, the blood on his face, the Secret Service. He said,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I gotta give you props, man. That shit's badass.
Which,
Straight up.
honestly, if you look at the picture, it's such gross negligence on the Secret Service because they're supposed to keep his head down the whole time.
He said, nah,
The-
let me cook.
the
Let me cook
protocol-
real
Like,
quick."
let me get my shoes.
The protocol is no, you don't get your shoes, you don't pop your head up. You're supposed
get
to
my shoes.
you're supposed to turtle him and get him to an armored vehicle or a secure
Yeah.
location as soon in under 30 seconds. That's literally the protocol. And
Especially
it
because
makes
in the
no
moment,
sense.
in the
But
moment,
hey, it made for a badass picture.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. In the moment though, like how how does he not know that there's another shooter?
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Like maybe
They're like, oh, they got.
He's like,
We got him.
They're like,
we
oh,
got
they,
him. Let me get my photo
oh,
op.
they already shot him. It's like you don't know there's another.
Yeah, man.
You don't know
he
he
loves guns. Like when he's at the RNC
Let me get my
right
shoes.
now,
Dude, yeah.
Everyone's open carry.
Yeah, and the Secret Service.
He's gonna
Senate
die.
Senate hearing today came out
He's gonna get shot,
saying
and Biden's gonna die of COVID.
Yeah, Biden has
Biden
COVID, bro.
Straight up.
As of this taping, Biden announced he has COVID-19.
Jimmy Beast for president.
Mild symptoms.
Sorry.
Jimmy James Beast. He could be asymptomatic and then.
Yeah, Biden said he had mild symptoms,
Oh.
but he's fine. Other than that, he's fine. So we have a very
He's
feeble
fine.
president with a very deadly virus in his system.
Yep.
So it
And
could be
and
mild now.
And
Um,
a Jimmy Beast
I
who's
just-
10 years too young.
I just want to say congratulations, President Kamala Harris. Thank you for
Hell
Put it
yeah.
on the book.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Good for
put it
you,
on,
man.
throw it on the ticket. Get Gavin Newsom in. I'm not advocating for the death of Biden. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't wish death
Yeah.
on him.
I don't wish death on any human being, you know. I hate Trump, but I'm glad a human being didn't die. That's straight up.
What do you mean?
You know.
A human did die. That is
I
a
guess
Oh,
a
yeah.
human did die. But you are right. You're right.
It did.
That sucks.
And
but
it's
like,
unfortunate because
could have
I
been
don't
more.
because
So funny.
Yeah.
I mean, like the people that are like, oh my God, God saved Trump that day. I'm like, God really saved him and redirected him. to
Yeah.
the dude
It's
who
sad.
died
I don't
from
want
like,
anyone
you
to
know
get
what?
shot.
I hate that argument because it's like God saved Trump that day, but he didn't save that guy. He
Exactly.
didn't save the kids from Sandy Hook. He
Yeah.
didn't save all the people in Las Vegas. He didn't save the kids in the Hispanic kids, the brown kids in Uvalde that the cops could have saved. Didn't do it.
He didn't
'cause
save the
they
gay
were
people in
cowards.
Orlando.
Nope.
He didn't save the gay
Yeah.
people in Orlando. It's tragedy. Didn't save those.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming from me. I'm religious. I'm Christian, and I hate it. I hate when that argument gets pulled up when they put Jesus into it because it's like you just make us look bad because it's
Yeah.
just a bad faith. It's just wrong.
They have nothing. This deflection.
It is deflection. It's
Straight
ridiculous.
up. Straight up, man.
Deflect.
We are, dude, crazy election year.
Yeah.
You know, we don't like to get too political here, but in general, there's just some wild shit that's going on.
Literally,
You know?
it was.
Like,
It's crazy,
Donald,
man.
It's weird that it's like, we're so nonchalant about it. It's like, oh yeah, someone tried to kill Trump the other day. Yeah.
On top of that, a
It's just another
Republican.
Yeah.
On
You
top
know?
of that, like a Republican.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so weird with a gun tubered shirt and literally his another thing came out today. His parents called the police that day. They didn't know where he was. They were like looking for the kid. They're like they didn't know where he was.
Ugh.
My 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
My 18-year-old son,
Like-
Jason.
My 18-year-old son Jason. He just like, man, the red jewel.
Yeah.
Where was it?
In the span of a- in
we
the
shouldn't
span
be
of a month.
laughing about people dying and stuff.
No.
But it's just great. It's,
The
laughing
kid
and
the
smiling for
the
the
kid
kid.
tried to
That's crazy.
try to commit a heinous federal crime.
yeah.
So I have very little sympathy.
No,
for that.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
I hate that guy. Yeah.
Say what you want about Trump, he doesn't deserve to get shot.
no one
but
deserves to get shot.
The thing about it is that when you create an environment of hate, of violence, you say Hillary Clinton should be locked up, not directly but indirectly supporting the Pizzagate thing. When January 6th happened and he instigated it, he's an insurrectionist. Let's just get this out of the way. He's a traitor.
Pelosi.
He is a traitor to this country. Period, point blank, because of what he did on January 6th. Making fun of Paul Pelosi when that guy tried to beat the shit out of him, saying, "Oh, they just want to have gay sex." Like, no, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure the hammer proved that that's not the case.
Gay sex.
Literally, like the noose. His own chief of staff, Mark Meadows, or Secretary of State, I don't know. One of his lackeys.
No, that was Mike Pompeo. You're right.
But Mark Meadows was on record saying that he saw that Trump saw the news and that he heard the chants of "Kill Mike Pence." They were chanting "Kill Mike Pence" because he was the one responsible with certifying the election at the end of the day. He said Mike Pence deserved it. Oh, he's at every turn. Like what I'm trying to get at is that at every turn he's advocated for violence and destruction. And he's like, look, you got to take back. You got to fight back. Otherwise, they're going to take your country from you. What the hell do you think
You're gonna
a
get
bunch of gun-toting right-wing nut jobs are going to think
You're
that
gonna
means?
get some extremists out of that.
What do you think that's
just
going to
are.
mean?
Yeah.
You have
He still
you have
thinks he
militia
did it
groups
once.
in there, like the Proud Boys.
I know.
Like, just, you don't, what did you expect was going to happen?
But even current day, he still thinks he won the election of 2020.
The thing with Mike Pence is that, this is the
That's
thing,
crazy.
he's an insurrectionist because he tried to get Mike Pence to certify alternate voters, alternate electors, instead of the correct ones. That is, by definition, election fraud. He committed election fraud, and then when he didn't get his way, and Mike Pence actually did the right thing, he's like, instigated an insurrection, and they stormed the Capitol. A bunch of people are like, "Oh, they like can't visit the Capitol." It's like, no,
Like,
they're having session right now. Like, you can't just barge and storm. Like, oh, they did nothing wrong. They're calling them patriots, and then like I'm seeing a bunch of doors breaking down and officers literally themselves from the trauma that they endured. The officers at the Capitol, like 2 or 3 of them themselves from trauma from that event.
And he's like, Mike Pence, we're done.
Yeah, Mike Pence deserved it. He deserved the
Hey,
news.
but cool photo though.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah, moral
what
of
I'm
the
saying
story.
is you reap what, yeah, what I'm
We're
saying is
gonna let.
you
We're
reap,
gonna let.
what I'm saying is you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. You constantly perpetuate violence. It's gonna happen, and maybe it'll happen to you. And that's what happened.
And
at
on
the end of the
that,
day.
and on that note, Cody Ko.
God damn, man, we're just hitting it hard on all the bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Can you not wait? Cody, listen to me, man. I'm gonna start a campaign so he can hear this. Could you not have waited till she was 18, man? Could you not have waited, dude?
This is a wild.
Literally, like, could he not? She was 17. Could you not have waited till she was 18,
I'm getting
man?
hot in here, man. There's a lot of hostility and emotion and passion in this episode.
I hate this shit. Speaking Trump is a listen, like, why can't people just the legal age? Why can't you wait, man? There's something chemically wrong with you for you to do that. Like, just why? It's just
nothing.
It's just
It's been
gross
like
and just
days.
irresponsible. He's tried to shelve this and hide this for 10 years now. And it's only till like Tana was like, oh yeah, that happened. That's like, come back again. Like, it came from her mouth. Like, her mouth. You're like, yeah, I was 17. He's like, people are like, oh, he was 17 as well. And it's like, no, he was 25. He was 25. He's my age. And he's doing that shit, man.
Imagine doing that to 17.
I don't want to imagine.
That's disgusting.
No, thank you.
No.
I know, but I mean,
It's like, dude,
I don't want to imagine.
it's like, it's so easy, especially for that, like 17. Like, it's so easy to wait, like, just, or find somebody that's of your age.
He must have just been really horny.
Dude, like,
That's all
I can't-
I can think of.
too
Can
many
you buy
guys
them?
don't.
You know?
Too many guys
Yeah,
think
can you
with their.
buy-
They don't think with their heads.
Yeah.
They think with their penis.
Yeah,
like,
man. They think with their other head.
Exactly, dude. It's just
Wanna
so
get that
stupid.
The theme of today's episode is throwing shade. We're throwing shade at Star Wars Theory, Donald Trump, and Cody Ko.
But Cody Ko hurts, man,
And
because he's a
Eminem.
funny
And
dude.
for my
and
last
he-
trick,
and it's like, yeah. Oh my
Talk
god.
about the Eminem album.
Yeah, let's
I
review
didn't
the
listen to it. All I know is for my last trick. That's all.
It's corny.
That's all I gotta say.
It's mid.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's better than the last 3 albums he's made. It's fine.
But
It's the best album since Marshall Mathers LP2.
Tobey Maguire was bit by a
Tommy
spider.
Maguire was bit by a spider, but
but
with
I-
me, it was the goat. And for my last trick, that,
It's just like the way that he raps. It just boggles my mind that he has the backing of like a Dr. Dre. Because like
And he has such crap beats. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
like
Abra,
Dr. Dre,
Abra,
man,
cadabra.
this
For
guy
my
last trick.
produced Good Kid, Mad City. You know what quality is. What are you doing?
I know.
Eminem has fallen off hard, man. He used to be so
This
good.
truly was his last trick.
Yeah, he says it's his
death.
last album. It's the
Slim
death
Shady.
of Slim Shady. Hopefully,
He's coming, but he's gonna be making music still, bro.
He's gonna be like,
I don't know. I feel like he got enough good reception
abracadabra.
that he'll
At
quit.
the Super Bowl. he'll be
Yeah, he's gonna be like- He's gonna be like dressed like a magician. Ah, bro.
He's gonna dress like Robin.
For my last drink. Oh, yeah.
From the music video.
This is too much.
Going back to Cody Ko.
Oh, we you know, maybe we
I the thing is, I love his videos. He's funny.
No, I know
just-
it's conflicting because
it-
I mean, you know,
know
I was
why
a
I'm-
huge fan.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of.
You got
of
me
the,
on the Cody Ko.
of the Ko man.
Yeah. And the reason I'm so vocal about it is because it hurts. It's tragic.
It does hurt.
It's tragic.
I can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it.
Bites the dust.
Guess what, guys? We get into the nitty gritty here.
Yeah.
At Tales of Woe. We aren't
We're
talking
not just about Star Wars and
Star
Marvel
Wars
and
and
shows
this
and
and that.
movies.
We're talking
talk about the issues that
crime.
matters.
We're talking about
Cody.
Cody Ko.
Badass pictures of shitty people.
Yeah, man. We get serious here. So if you're not ready for it, get out. Maybe you should be tuning into a different show, buddy, because you're not ready for this.
All right, let's recap.
You're not. You're not ready for the energy we bring in when we're in the same room.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When we're in the same room, we're talking about PDF files. We're talking about.
PDF file downloaders.
We're talking about crimes of the government. We're talking about.
You know what this?
All the fucked up.
You know what this episode feels like? This episode feels like, you know, that tweet or that video that you make when you're young, and then we get hired by Lucasfilm to do a Star Wars movie, and they're like, well, look at this video. Look what they talk about as Star Wars theory, and look what they said and all that. And it's like, when that moment comes, I'm going to be like, I said what I said. I support Star Wars. I support what Lucasfilm is trying to do.
They're going to be like, yeah, we found this video of your old podcast where you're talking about Star Wars and PDF files in the same episode, and that doesn't sit quite right with us.
And they do not correlate. We're not connecting them in any way at all.
Or do they?
No. No! 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 I want to work for Lucasfilm. I want to make a Star Wars movie.
I'm kidding.
Netflix will let you know.
Yeah, Netflix, yeah.
And on that note,
Is that it?
yeah. And for my last trick, I think that about wraps things up here.
It does wrap things up.
Wow.
Let's recap.
Let's recap.
Star Wars theory sucks, and he's disingenuous. Donald Trump sucks.
Donald Trump sucks, but he knows
Cody
how to
Ko
take
is
a
a
damn
tragic
good picture.
Cody Ko broke my heart.
Yeah.
Moist Critical
The
put the stamp of approval on Cody Ko, bro.
Yeah.
Or
And,
the stamp of disapproval. rather.
The prison system sucks.
And don't be a pedophile.
PDF files.
Don't touch the children, maybe.
Just
Drake.
don't. Drake should be in jail.
Yeah.
Eminem album was mid. Long Legs was mid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Y'all wish Long Legs would have been better.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that about covers it.
I think that about covers it.
What do we think?
The boys
Good,
finale
good
is
stuff.
tomorrow.
Boys finale
I'm
tomorrow.
excited for that.
The boys.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Did you guys see that? It was confirmed Soldier Boy's going to be in the finale.
Wow.
My favorite character, not because he's an asshole,
Soulja Boy.
but because
I'm gonna have to
He
whip.
smokes weed.
I'm gonna have to whip
no,
out my
it's just
soldier
'cause
game.
He's obnoxious.
I gotta whip out my soldier game, so I'm ready. Remember when Soldier Boy made a game console?
Yes.
We like that.
I love that John Tron video.
Hey, that's your fun
That
fact
John
of the day.
Tron video about Soldier Boy is
Yeah.
so funny. He's like, Soldier Boy game console, Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
So funny, dude.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that about wraps things up here. Thank you guys so
Andrew
much for
Callahan,
watching. Andrew Callahan?
Yeah, I want to be hired by Andrew Callahan.
Yeah. Hey, look.
Channel 5. If you haven't noticed in the episodes, I've repped like 4 Channel 5 hoodies. Can you,
True.
like, rep me, please?
True.
Andrew Callahan, I want to meet you. He canceled the Orlando show. Screening of Dear Callahan.
And that about wraps things up. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the show. This has been the first of many where we're in the same room. Look, I can touch him. He's real. We can touch each other. It's not
like
it's
that.
not a farce. Not like that. Not
Pause.
like some people do to children.
Yeah, I'm married.
Drake.
But he's married, and we're both of age, so everything's all good there. But thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, have a great rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, morning.
Whenever you're watching this.
Whenever that may be. You know, we don't control your life. We don't control
Exactly.
your schedule.
Why
Watch
would we
it.
do that?
Watch
Why would
this
we
when
do
it's
that?
convenient to you.
Exactly.
You know? Watch it whenever the heck you want. So whenever that may be, I hope it's going well for you. And yeah, peace off. Wait, what is that? What does Tobuscus say? He goes like, peace off. If you sneeze during this. He says like, bless your face. If you sneeze during this video, bless you. Peace off. Peace off. I don't know.
I'll see
Goodbye.
you.
See ya.
I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.